All right, guys, I've been out here today working on a rack to put my poker and stuff in. I've got my poker built for my wood burning stove, and I've got the handle. I've taken it in the house so it can be out of the humidity and dry faster because it was like 17% humidity. And my wood burning stove, it has a grill on the bottom of it for the ashes and stuff to fall through. So I was gonna make a shovel, but I made this so you can just kind of pull stuff and push stuff around. And I've got the handle, like I said before, inside drying. And then I've got this wood burning stove back here, and I don't ever use this broom. And I thought, well, I'll use this broom on this one. And so I've got to paint all this stuff and everything still yet. But I mounted the broom on this piece of sucker rod, and like the rest of them, I'm waiting on the handle to dry. They're so small that they'll dry pretty quick if you take them in the house where it's climate controlled. I had the gear that went around the perimeter of my flywheel on my pickup, and I had cut it out to use the center part on my riding lawnmower to make a weed eater to mount on underneath the deck of my riding lawnmower. But I had that gear, and I thought that gear was really cool looking. So I set that down on a piece of butcher block, and I traced it, and then I cut the butcher block out as a circle, and then I set it back up there and traced the inside of it and routed it out so it would set down around it. And I got it pretty good. It's pretty tight. And I thought it looked really neat, but I wanted it to look kind of industrial, I guess is the word I'm thinking of. And these are some of the saw blades that I used building the cabin. And I thought, well, heck, I'll use those. So I took some 100 grit sandpaper, 150 grit sandpaper, 220 grit sandpaper, and then a purple, I think it was purple. What color was that cloth? One of these cloths like this. I have another one up here. Here it is right here. It's a little more coarse. I took this stuff and put it on the bottom of my sander and polished them pretty good and made them as shiny as I could get them. And I left a little bit of the paint on there on purpose. Just I thought it kind of looked neat and added some color to it. But after I get through with it, I'm gonna glue the gear ring in, and then with epoxy, and then I'll put down the saw blades, and then I'll glue the center post in with epoxy and let all that dry. And then after it dries, I'll just flood that with epoxy. And then this is, what are those called? Those tiki torches. I had a couple of those old tiki torches and we never used them. And I took the decorative piece off of one of them and put it on the bottom down there. And then this one's already on here. And then I took a couple of old handles that I had for some other stuff, and I welded this one on right here, and it had this one, and I bent it as close to the same circumference as that gear down there as I could get it. It's really hard when you don't have a bender of some kind. And these are gonna have fairly long handles on them, so I may end up having to cut this off and make it shorter. And then I was digging around looking for something I could use for hangers, and I found some old railroad spikes. And this isn't glued or anything, it's just kind of sitting there. And I cut those down and welded 4 of those heads off of those railroad spikes on there to hang my rope on for my different pieces here. And like I said, I just out here messing around today doing this, and I thought I would show you guys what I was up to. But I think it's gonna look pretty neat. And I'm gonna have one of those will be honey locust. One of them will be Osage orange tree, or bodark, or whatever you want to call it. It's got 4 or 5 different names. And then the other one will be off of a pear tree. I thought I would just make it out of different kinds of wood. And I was gonna try to use this to make it. It's a limb off of a tree that grew up and over. And I was gonna try to use this piece of Osage. And I couldn't figure out exactly what to do. And then I had this piece that was fairly long, but I just couldn't figure out how to do it and make it look right. So I just kind of give up on it and use this. But I think it's gonna look pretty neat, especially once I get the wood on there. I wanted something rustic looking, something kind of steampunk, I guess is the word for it. I kind of like some of that stuff those guys do. I don't got a lot of gears and stuff like that out here, so I just kind of used what I had. Well, you guys take care, and I hope you like this, and have a good day.